637, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into Nashville's Morning News. Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Congressman, always great to have you on. First, of course, we have to talk about the news of the day, and that is Israel, Iran. I'm sure you know at this point that overnight Israel, the bombing does continue back and forth. Iran has, just so folks know, Iran has had direct hits on a high-rise apartment building and a hospital, and Israel continues to focus on their nuclear and military sites. As this whole thing continues to unfold, do you want to just give us, just sort of a first blush, comment on everything that's going on?
Yeah, it's a little more complex than that. We've moved a lot of our fleet that was off the coast of Bahrain. I believe now it's about 90 miles down the coastline. It's now visible, I believe, by the folks in Iran. Show them what could be coming. And we've moved some, which bothers me, from our defensive positions around Taiwan. And so we could, in effect, be on a three-front war. We could be fighting in Iran. We could have a situation with China in Taiwan, and nobody's paying any attention to that. And, of course, Ukraine and Russia. We've got billions there. I'm not a fan of that either. So I'm a little worried about all of it, really. I don't know our role in this. Iran has nuclear capabilities, probably, but their missiles can only deliver to, the missiles can deliver as far as Greece. So, they're not going to hit the United States of America. But we do have 40,000 men in that area, or women, fighting men and women, military in that area. So that could be a problem as well if one of them is injured. But, with Iran's accuracy, anything could happen because they are not accurate in their bombings. Case in point, they've not been able to hit anything really that they've tried to hit. They are poorly equipped technologically. Israel, of course, has the best intelligence in the world, being able to take out nuclear sites with great ease. And Iran, of course, is now one of their last missile strikes. They launched two of their big missiles, which tells me they're about out if they're not out. They're let's see, their Iran's aircraft on the ground are, as a expert said, they are inoperable, which means Israel just blew the hell out of them. So now it's getting down to, is somebody going to move in there and occupy it? And I do not want American boys and girls over there. I do not think it's our war. I think Israel can handle it. And there's a question of the bunker busters. Yep. What we should be doing about that. No, that would be us. That would be us doing it. And, there's talk of semantics of selling Israel a bomber for $1 and letting them, an Israeli do it. I mean, that's bogus. That kind of thought, that's just stupid. Maybe that's what Washington will do. But anyway, so it's and there's a question of whether the bunker busters can get down that far into the mountain where they think that their nuclear apparatus is. Yeah. And we do not want to kill their religious leader because we'll make him a martyr. Yep. So that's all of it, pretty much. Yeah, sorry it took me so long.
Oh, no, it's great commentary and insight from you, Congressman Tim Burchett. So I guess President Trump keeps saying that, Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. He's been saying this for years. So I guess the question is then, it sounds like you are against Trump, and the reporting is today that he does plan on possibly using that bunker buster. So is it your opinion that we should, number one, America itself not using that bunker buster, and number two, should we not even give that to Israel to facilitate allowing them to do it? Well, then is there a criticism then that we are ultimately allowing Iran to eventually manufacture a nuclear weapon if we don't get down into that nuclear facility underground?
Well, I submit to you, we don't think our bunker buster can get into this, and we're not really sure if they have nuclear apparatus in this mountain. So, again, are we going to get into another endless war? And a lot of people in Washington are voting by their portfolio. And I've got a daughter just turned 18 last week, shares the same birthday with the president, and I do not want to see her going off into a war that most members of Congress couldn't find on a globe. So at what point Israel does a good job of handling it. I just say let Israel handle it. Let them handle it. We give them about $4 billion a year on auto check without any reservation. Plus, we've given them in the past extra military apparatus for their Iron Dome, which we more or less created or helped create with their assistance, with Israel's assistance. So, I appreciate the fact that these people are bad people. I don't like them. They should never have nuclear weapons, but I think Israel's doing a great job of containing them, and I say just continue to let them contain them.
All right, Congressman Tim Burchett joining us. Coming up, we're going to talk about the TVA and transparency. And, of course, we all know what is going on between the TVA and Cheatham County. Details coming up next. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. Today, a high of 87 and rain off and on across Middle Tennessee. Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us. So, Congressman, one, congratulations, because your TVA Transparency Act has actually passed the House of Representatives. That's awesome. Talk a little bit about what's in it and what inspired it. Is this something that has been going on before this controversy with Cheatham County, or was this in response to what is going on in Cheatham County?
Now, I've been fighting TVA for a long time, ever since the Big Ash bill, and they kind of arrogantly just turned their nose up with the people. And the Cheatham County thing, actually, my mom is from Cheatham County, a little area called Cheap Hill. She grew up there and didn't have electricity until she's a senior in high school, so I'm familiar with the area. But the TVA transparency bill we passed in the House, now it hasn't been picked up in the Senate, so if you know any good senators out there that would like to pick that bill up and move it in the Senate, I would enjoy their help, because it's not doing anything, just sitting on a shelf somewhere.
I happen to know too, and
yes,
we'll see what we can do. Do you reach out? I'm just curious. Do you reach out to them and say, "Hey, could you help us out"?
Yeah, it's a process. TVA has friends and powerful enemies all over the place. My buddy John Rich, of course, as you know, has been kind of leading the charge on Cheatham County and doing it on that issue over there. But my issue, and he's really doing a great job. I understand he's planning a lot of things, songs and protests and concerts to benefit that. So I think John's going to do a great job of that. But my bill actually deals with open records. And in the past, you never know what they're going to do until after it's already done. And I want to open up their meetings. They'll go into what's called, I don't know what they call it. Most people call it executive session. And they go, we got to bring our lawyers in, so we can't make this available to the public because we're talking about secret stuff, trade secrets and all this other. And it does tick me off. TVA was created by the United States Congress, much like our post office. And they always claim they're independent till they need help. And then, they're all about, hey, we're a federal agency. And so you can't have it both ways. Mm-hmm. I just want them to have their meetings open to the public, just like you would any other legislator or elected body that's out there. I'm a big believer. Is there a
reason, Congressman, is there a reason why they've been able to get away with this since 1933?
They're arrogant. Well,
I'll tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
You pay the head man of TVA $10 million a year plus his bonus, which is what the former one. and now somebody was bragging, oh, it's down to $6 million, and I don't hold anything against the person who's getting that check. I would love to get that check. Matter of fact, Trump told me several years ago during his first administration, he said, Tim, you'd love to get that job, wouldn't you? I said, 1 year, Mr. President. And then I said, no, you don't know my wife and daughter. You better make it 2.
Oh, that's
but,
funny.
how about get somebody from the Tennessee Valley that grew up here, pay them $1 million a year, and let them run the dadgum agency. That's what they ought to do. And quit saying we're competing with the industry. Look, TVA is a different body than Duke Electric. Duke Electric sells when somebody gets they get their electrical bill, it goes to Duke Electric. When somebody gets their electrical bill in Tennessee, in Knoxville, it goes to the KUB, Knoxville Utility Board. They have a monopoly. TVA has a monopoly. Let's just cut it out. And they've invested heavily with their very liberal board in solar and wind, and they're having to get away from that. We need to invest in small nuclear. We've got coal in the ground. We've got gas in the ground. What God gave us, let's use that. And the public needs to know what the heck's going on in these meetings. And that's what the bill does. It opens it up and lets people know. And all these shenanigans, they might not stop, but at least they'll know what to do and how to prepare for it.
Yeah, and I think showing up on the property of folks up there in Cheatham County and unannounced, I think that also angered a lot of folks, and that's right on line with what you've managed to get passed out of the House of Representatives. So we'll see what happens in the Senate. Fingers crossed on that one. Also, real quick, let's talk about no taxes for terrorists. Now, this is, I think, probably, I don't know if it's your landmark legislation. You've done a lot over the years, but talk a little bit about it, where it is, what it's going to do, and what your hopes are for this.
Well, there's a podcaster over there in Franklin named Sean Ryan, former Navy SEAL. Mm-hmm. He has a buddy named Legend, who's an Afghan fighter that fought on our side. And he goes by Legend because he has hits out on him, as probably a lot of us do right now. And what we found out is we're paying the Taliban about $40 million a week. The State Department's reported they think it's close to $5 billion overall. And the bill stops that. It stops the payments. It verifies where the money's going. And it just, the Democrats are fighting it like crazy because I believe these NGOs, that there's almost 1,000 NGOs that are working out of Afghanistan, is what I've been told. And now we're finding out that we think these NGOs, non-government organizations, are funneling money back to the United States. Dark money, campaigns, possibly going into politicians' pockets. And this bill stops that, and they are pitching a fit. And it's taken me over a year to get this thing through. And Washington, D.C. is incredibly broken, and this is an opportunity to do something about it. Again, it's tough to get a Senate sponsor. I've got Senator Sheehy and Tommy Tuberville have both agreed to take it on. So I'm really looking for. I need real street fighters, because this is going to get rough and ugly. Because a lot of the politicians on both sides of the aisle, I think, are somehow these NGOs are feathering their nest.
I got to ask, Congressman, because this seems like a no-brainer. You and I have spoken about this before. I've covered it before. Yep. And it seems like, and I've only got like a minute left, but it seems like a no-brainer that our taxpayer dollars should not be going to terrorist organizations. How is this even an argument in Congress?
Because we're corrupt and arrogant, and the American public won't do anything about it. 12% of us vote. We've elected a president, and then we just lay down on everybody else, and you assume they're doing what's right, and they're not. It's a crooked town. It needs to be cleaned up. Everybody wants to do these little precision things, and Washington, D.C. is a trash can. You don't reach into a trash can and pick and clean it. You turn it upside down and put a garden hose to it, and that's what Washington, D.C. needs. We are in real trouble in this country to allow this to go on. But you extrapolate that all over the globe, and it's probably in the trillions of dollars that we know that we've thrown away with these organizations. Yet we don't do anything about it, because we've got our bridge, we've got our our little project. We get our sidewalk project or something, and then we go home. And we are literally losing our country.
All right, Congressman Tim Burchett, always great to have you on, and good luck with the TVA Transparency Act in Congress and the Senate, and let us know how that progresses, would you?
I will, and thank you so much. I was in Nashville yesterday speaking to the women's group, and it was wonderful. I got to see my buddy Bobby Petray and all the wonderful ladies over there, and I appreciate them more than you know, and their support and prayers are welcome.
We are such big supporters of Bobby Petray on this show. We kind of call Bobby, Joan. Thank you, Congressman Tim Burchett. If Joan is the mom of the show,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to make Bobby mad because she's like really powerful, and she's an amazing conservative. She's like 5'1".
I love that. I'm 5'1". Like,
well, then she's smaller than you, Bobby Petray.
Really?
I think she's shorter than you are. But I tell you what, man, she is awesome. But I don't want to make Bobby mad. But
right.
If Joan's the mom of the show, then I'd have to say that Bobby is like the grandma of the show. But I don't want to make her mad.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to make her mad. So I don't know. Why don't we leave it at Bobby's awesome?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And you know what? People can have two moms. As opposed to making her like the grandma of the show.
If the two of us teamed up, there'd be like no stopping anybody.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Joan Jones has got the news coming up at 7 o'clock. Joan.